Okay, we have a Louisiana Tech team coming here Thursday night. You know, every game's this time of the year. You know, when you play, it's closer to the end of the season. So we don't have 4 left, 2 home games. Only one that matters right now is the Louisiana Tech team, and a very capable, good Louisiana Tech team, very athletic, and we got to get back. We come off of 2 tough losses. We got to get back and find a way to defend home court starting Thursday night.
Questions?
You guys have had spurts where you played or put up some wins. What are you doing better during those times when you guys are managing to win some of these close games?
Well, first off, those 3 home games we won in a row, it's 3 home games. You go on the road, that margin for winning gets really narrow. And if you watch the Charlotte game, you know how narrow it is. 1 less step back 3 off of 1 foot for them, or 1 more made basket for us, that's winning and losing. No, that's a fine line, winning and losing. And on the road, that margin for error is just really thin because there's just so much bounce in this league. I mean, there's 8 or 9 teams in this league. On a given night, they've proven it pretty much already can beat anybody in this league on any given night. There's no easy games. That's why it's so important to defend your home court. Going on the road and winning, it's just not easy. It's not easy. And again, it comes down so much, and you've heard me say this many times, just making a shot. And it's well documented. We don't score very well in the paint. That's a well documented stat. By throwing it in there, I ain't talking about driving it or lobs, but just throwing it to the block. That's not one of our strengths. So when you don't have a strength like that, you depend on a 3 a little bit more and maybe you'd like to. You depend on a drive a little bit more than you'd like to. And, you know, those there can be a little bit inconsistent sometimes. But it is, you know, where it is right now. You know, the last game at Rice, we just dug ourselves such a bad hole to start off with. They had to fight back. And we fought back and got up with a 6. But you expend so much energy just trying to fight back. You give that other team so much confidence when they get a lead, too. And, you know, I think one guard goes 5 for 6, 5 for 6 threes. And, you know, in basketball, that's what happens sometimes. It happens.
You know, Coach, what are a few things that you guys are looking to kind of get right down this last little stretch? Because obviously you're not where you want to be yet before conference or tournament time. You
know, you want to defend your home court. That's where it starts. You know, we came out of, I think most of y'all would say this, we came out of a game against Middle Tennessee. We probably felt like we were pretty good, about as good as we had been. Now you got to go on the road and do that, and we didn't do that. So now you're back home. You know, there's no one thing that you can go out there and change, if that's what you're asking me. You know, the biggest thing is control what you're in control of and in charge of. What is that? You guys know what you're in charge of every day, every possession? That could be, there you go. How hard you play. You're not in control if that shot goes in or not. You know? You may be a great shooter and take a good shot and just don't go in. But you're not going to tell him not to shoot the basketball no more. You're going to keep letting him go. Control what you're in charge of. That's every possession. How hard you play. You know, how hard you play help overcomes a lot of different things. Then if you can make shots on top of it, then you got a chance. And you know, our guys are playing hard is not one of them. It's a fine line, just making one more shot. That's getting one more stop in a couple games. So, but that's all done over. Next game is Louisiana Tech. Like I said earlier, they're a really good team, and we got to come out and defend our home court.
Just going back to that for just a sec, this was a weird split for a road swing too. Did that affect at all the second game, the first overtime loss in Charlotte, and you have to go all the way to Texas? Did that affect the slow start?
Well, let me say this. It don't matter what it affects. At the end of the day, the only things that matter to you, us, everybody else, is W's and L's. That's all that matters. It don't matter what ingredients affect what along the way. So for me to tell you that losing a tough game, going on the road again, is that hard? Well, naturally, you'd rather win that game on Thursday night. Win or lose, though, you have to play the game. As a basketball player and an athlete, you get back up and ready to go. So to answer your question, as a coach and a player, you don't ever use any of those things for excuses. Never. I think you would know, would we rather won that game Thursday night? And you may be asking too, it was a tough loss. I mean, our guys got down, we fought back. I think we had 12 straight stops from the 4-minute mark, 4-minute and 30-minute mark of the first half to the 2-minute and 30 seconds in overtime, 7 minutes. We had 12 straight stops. Come back from 8 down to go 2 up and got the ball on 2 different occasions to really dagger them. Yeah, it hurts. Players don't miss shots on purpose. Players, they want to win just like we all want to win. But again, when you have ups, you can't ride those ups very long. When you have downs, you can't ride downs very long. And that's what's so good about athletics. Teaches a lot of things besides W's and L's is you got to get back up. Can't get too high, get too low. You got to keep fighting. And again, we're down to 4 games now. And you've heard me say this, several times already. I mean, I dug us a hole early in this season. As I've said, our coaches did an unbelievable job. Those players did an unbelievable job. I put them in a bad situation, missing those whatever games it was. And that's not easy for nobody. So anything that's gone bad, don't ever say anything bad about players or assistant coaches. Always point to me. I'm the one responsible for it, always.
Coach, when it comes down to talking about your tactic about the team, these 5 or 2 home games of the year probably are pretty much to you at this point. But what does it mean to, what do these 5 or 2 home games mean?
Well, they're last 2 games of the season. First one's Louisiana Tech, and you got a really, really good, UAB team coming in here. Like always, you want to defend your home court. You just got to win at home. It's really important to do that because it's really difficult to go on the road and win this league. So, biggest game of the year. Next one, Louisiana Tech.
Coach, Louisiana Tech, last time you played them down there, you lost in overtime. They had Coach Williams, I don't think, available right now, or he didn't play in the last game. So, what is it? Where can you take advantage of the current Louisiana?
Well, I know they had a chance. I wasn't at that game. Lost in overtime. It was an overtime game. Had their chances, and it seemed like they made some shots. Crawford made a couple shots, some threes that, didn't help things. Kobe, I know he hadn't played the last couple games. We'll see if he plays or not. I don't know if if he's going to play or not play. You never know until they get off the bus and warm up and throw that ball up who's going to play. So we'll prepare and be ready with or without him.
There's a couple of guys, that will team, next year. What does it mean to, where you've seen them come from when they started here at WKU and where they are now?
Well, again, Luke's a guy that came in here. I guess has it been 4 years now? 3 years? Played 3 years. He got immediately eligible, yeah. To see his growth as a person is amazing where he was at and where he is now. He's leaving here with a college degree. He's leaving here with a wife. 2 things that, one of them for sure, and he came in here. I can remember the conversation from Miss Dixie. I'm not a very good student. I'll never graduate. Well, he graduated. Yeah, I think it's very obvious. We haven't talked about him a lot lately, but we've missed him as a player now. Forget the 3-point shot. That's one thing everybody just looks at. It's the other things that he did, those intangibles, those little things, the mentality, things you can't teach. He was an experienced player, saw next play happening. As I said before, There's not a stat cap on it, but I can promise you he led this league in charges, taking charges. And that's shows you're willing to sacrifice your body for the good of the team. Not a lot of guys do that now consistently. And the other thing always stand out about him, besides being a player, never had a player in, my 21 years as head coach, every day he would dap every player and every coach up before he left practice. Good practice, bad practice. That's a great character right there. Players loved him. We miss him in those huddles. We miss him when things go wrong. But again, next guy up. So we took him on a trip with us this past week because we want him around us. And we want him around us. It helps him, and he's doing really well from that knee. Hopefully in the future he's thinking he still wants to play. So, and that's good for him, and he'll get an opportunity because of his ability to shoot that basketball. But he's going to have his degree while he's doing that. That was something that he never believed he could have got.
I asked Luke about this, but kind of transitioning into his new role of kind of being a supporter.
Have you talked to Luke lately?
We just talked to him.
He was at the press conference today? Good, okay.
Yeah, just asked him about, how his role has changed from being a player on the team to kind of being a cheerleader on the bench or a coach on the bench. And, how's it kind of been seeing him in that role and kind of just changing the way it's going?
Well, if you're asking me, I don't like his role at all. I liked him a whole lot better as a player than I do a cheerleader or a coach. But that's the role he's got now, and we like that, having his energy, or our players know his vibe around us. They know how tough he was. They know how much he meant to the program. It's a good thing having him around for that.
Christian's minutes ticked up last game a little bit. Is that just circumstance, or did he earn a little more time on the floor? We would like to play him more. I'd see him zone a bunch and he can make a shot. And, Landers does a couple things as good as anybody on the team. Defensively, he's probably got as much lateral quickness as anybody individually out there. He's got ability to make a shot. He's just learning. He hasn't played a lot. He didn't get a lot of minutes in Indiana consistently. Kind of like Dante. Even though he's a fourth-year player, he's never played. I think we were talking, he played more minutes in 3 games. He played his whole career at Kentucky. So there's not a lot of playing experience there. Fortunate and good for both of them. They're young guys. Both of them are sophomores. So, but we would like to find ways to keep getting him in that game, man. Because he gives another level of quickness and athleticism out there. And a guy can make a shot. We need Bill to make some shots. Makes that game a whole lot easier.
Basketball games, particularly for Louisiana Tech, what are the points of emphasis that you guys have focused on the Louisiana?
Well, Crawford's role's really stepped up now since, Kobe didn't play the last 2 games. Just a lot more emphasis for him. He can be a bad matchup. And I think that's a bad matchup last time he went to the 5 down there and made those 2 threes at the 5. But he's the one guy that is a whole lot more emphasis, a whole lot more ISOs they're running for him. I think he had 27 or 28 against Charlotte. Is that right? He's a different player now, and they've changed kind of their focus a little bit, who they're going to with him. So we've got to be able to do a good job on him. Guys, we're good. Paul, you got a question, buddy? Give me one question. Come on. You got one, I know. You got a good, wise question back there.
Wise? Well, I think slightly over the superside from my point of view. We've been in the 3-point shot. They throw it at times. I don't know how much they're throwing it in. But sometimes I guess when you make 1 or 2 like that, you get pumped.
That's a pretty good observation. That's a pretty wise, observation question, Paul. Charlotte deal was a big boy, didn't make one first half. And it's a bad matchup for Jamar. It's a bad matchup. Those fives that can really pick and pop. First half didn't make one. You know, you say, well, why did he make them second half? He makes 6 second half. 2 of them came in overtime. One of them was a step back. Jamar wasn't on him. Somebody else had rotated to him, step back 1-footer, and he hit some big shots. The Rice game, first off, those guards are capable shooters. And that one young man made he made 3 in a row to separate that game. 4 in a row, Dana? Okay, well, that's even worse. You know, I thought we'd done a pretty good job here at home. Just wasn't as good in those last 2 games taken away. And that shooting, Paul wish I had an answer to that. We could bottle that recipe. It's hard to tell what we could do with that recipe. If we could pass that around the world and country, why some teams make shots some nights and some nights they don't. You see it in college basketball. What game was on Saturday afternoon? Oh, it was Baylor and Kansas. Anybody see that? Anybody see that game? First half, Baylor's up 15, couldn't miss. At Kansas, second half, couldn't make a shot and got beat 20. It's amazing how a game changes somehow. But it's that mental part of it is so mental in basketball, and young man making a shot, seeing that shot go in, gives them a lot of confidence. You know, on the other hand, you miss a shot sometimes. It can affect you. Shooting that next shot. So it goes both ways sometimes. We good?